Kitty cat check. Puppy dog check. Hiccups check. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston. We have a problem. It's Monday. Markets don't care. Any news to throw at it? Well, I'll be up 100 points. I don't care. What a weird world we live in. Right, Kat? What a weird world. So, Gary Gensler gets yacked at tomorrow by Congress. The rumor mill is that he is going to be asked about MMTLP. I will be very curious to see how he answers that, what exactly the question will be. Will the person asking the question actually know what's going on? That's also a big concern. He'd be like, what about this MMTLP I've heard so much about? And then Gary Gensler's like, what do you mean? I was told that I'm supposed to ask you about it. And then Gary Gensler's like, what would you like to ask me? Is it true? And it'll just be stuff like that over and over. And so I'm going to set my expectations just way down there and hope for the best. That's what I'm going to do. That if it is a complete garbage and nothing happens, then my expectations will have been met. And won't take much to get past, get over that hump and, be something that might be wonderful and delicious for us to look at. Okay. Anything else, Monkey? I don't know. I had to wake up much earlier than I'm used to today and watched a lot of Star Trek Picard until way too late. So, low energy Monday. That's where we are. Okay, off. The other one's off. I'm going to 2 offs. Make sure I say it twice. Off, off. There we go. Okay. What do we got? Show me where to go, people. We got people being first and second and muhaha. Kelleros Houston, happy birthday. What are your thoughts on Thomas Sowell and how slavery is viewed in the U.S.? Thomas Sowell writes a lot of words to not actually say anything. I had a friend he was like, you have to read all this stuff. You have to read all this stuff. So I read his stuff. And the hypotheses he presents in his works are often wrong. So like, his claim, his overarching claim via race relations in the United States is that former enslaved people learn their behaviorisms from their slave masters, and that when the diaspora happened, and they moved north, they moved elsewhere, that they carried with them the behaviors they learned from their masters, and that propagated throughout the generations. And that's why Black Americans today are less successful on average than everyone else. That's bullshit. Why? Because the former slave owners are doing just fine. So they learn the behavior from them. Then why are the former slave owners, who were, let's face it, an aristocracy, the aristocrats, why are they doing just fine? Maybe that has nothing to do with it. He also talks about how, there's no minimum wage in Switzerland and they do just fine. And yet, there's no national minimum wage in Switzerland, but you go to the cantons in Switzerland, like the individual cantons, which are kind of like counties or states, they have minimum wages of like $25 an hour US. So Graubünden, which is where my friends live, where I go every once in a while, their minimum wage is 25 Swiss francs, which is over $25 an hour. So the nation of Switzerland doesn't have minimum wage, but the individual cantons do, and everyone has a high standard of living. So, I don't know. I've got which one of his? I've got over here the rednecks and black rednecks and white liberals. This is like his treatise on race relations in the U.S. and it's just not good. Cat, what are you doing? Leave it alone, Cat. I don't know. I think Thomas Sowell, his entire gimmick is that he writes things that people who are kind of racist go, oh yeah, because a black guy wrote it, excellent. And then they call him an intellectual. And then people who are scholars who are equally as talented and have just as many credentials just pick his works apart. I have seldom seen books get so thoroughly dismantled in book reviews. You know, like you read like the New York Times review of books, things like that. There'll be someone in there who's like, okay, I'm gonna have to write this 40-page book review because there's so much wrong with what he wrote. Then we're just gonna pull these pieces apart and take all that out. So I don't know. I just not impressed with Thomas Sowell. Like even his expertise in economics and even his stuff in economics is poorly researched. For example, his claims that successful nations don't have minimum wages. I mean, go to Denmark, the minimum wage is $23 an hour. The price of a McDonald's hamburger is the same in Denmark as it is in the United States. But in Denmark, they're making $26 an hour. They've got 4 weeks paid vacation. They've got like a year of maternity leave. They've got healthcare, college paid for, right? People are like, oh, taxes are so much higher in Denmark. Well, if you take our taxes and then you include healthcare to that, because the healthcare is included in Denmark, we pay more. We pay like 10% more of our income than anyone in Denmark, and we get way less services. We have terrible healthcare. We don't have free buses. We don't have free college. We've got, almost no safety net compared to them. So what are we getting out of it? Not as much, that's for sure. Okay. Chris Collins, happy birthday. Thoughts on the meeting tomorrow with Gary Gensler? Again, I'm going to hold hope, but set my expectations just way down in the gutter. I'm going to be standing on top of my expectations. I'm not sure if I get a chance to watch it live. When is it? Gary Gensler congressional testimony. No. That's March 29th. Okay. September. Nope. Talk about September, man. I want to know what time it is tomorrow. April. Okay. 10 a.m. Eastern. I will not be functional at 10 a.m. That's 7 a.m. here. Yeah, homie, don't do that. So I'll be watching the tape later. The highlight reels. So I won't be watching it live. Mighty Mouse. So how does this work? Shorts need to close positions MMTLP, and they're on the hook for the dividend. Plus, they have shorts in Acme Parent Company. Yes. Depending on when they shorted, they can have shorts in both. So if they shorted Torchlight, it never closed, and they got shorts in both companies. If they close their position, then they're not on the hook for any dividends. Then it's closed, done, gone. If they don't close and there is a dividend, then they're definitely on the hook for that. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. Chris Collins, also this new hooligan prof, James Angel, apparently has been approaching all Congress people. Turns out from his Twitter feed, his aim is NextBridge becomes public and claims that that's what shareholders want. Oh, yeah, no, that's not what shareholders want. Shareholders want the opportunity to sell, to close their positions, or keep NextBridge. That's it. We want 2 days of trading back. So I think that's not new. No, there, Professor James Angel. That's not what we want. He's connected with Finner and ATS. Okay, so he's shilling, it sounds like. I'm gonna look that dude up. Yeah, GTS, not ATS. Okay. Daniel Batchelor, Houston. Let's get real. Lasagna or stuffed shells? Lasagna. Take lasagna over stuffed shells. Oftentimes, about half the time I get stuffed shells, it's a mixture of things that doesn't quite hit the spot for me. It might be like really, really dry cheese mixed with spinach. And that's just, I don't want that. I want like meat and sauce. Cheese, meat, sauce. That's what I want. So I'll take the lasagna over the stuffed shells off the times. Yeah, I've had good stuffed shells, but I've also been like hit and miss on those suckers. Jamaican, come on. Hey, Houston. Happy birthday. Your thoughts on Charles Payne interview today? It's good. What's that lady's name? Ah, crap. I'm tired brain, so like names are going to come to me. H. Starts with an H and it's not coming to my mind. Anyway, he brought up MMTLP. He the phraseology he used to ask the questions are quite kind of like nebulous. It's very much what I'm afraid. Hester, thank you, Hester Pierce. It's very much what I'm afraid the questions are going to be like from Congress tomorrow, where there's going to be like, you know, oh, it says here that there's going to be something called an MMTLP. And then Gary Gensler is just going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I hope that whoever asked the question is like actually knows what's happening, like knows some background story behind all this. Like Charles Payne, he sort of hit it, but he didn't quite. I'll say like it didn't quite feel like he fully knew what's going on. Does that make sense? You guys have that feeling that I'm talking about? Like it just seemed like there was some nebulous thing that just hadn't quite clicked for him yet. And he knows the bad stuff happened in MTLP. He knows that people are stuck in it and that they haven't been able to get out and that they want their money and that fraud happened. But he didn't quite pin down what that fraud was. He's just sort of like, and there's fraud. And she's like, okay. But the fraud is that they sold hundreds of millions of shares that didn't exist, should have had to close them because they wouldn't be able to provide the dividend as required because this company's going private and the dividend is private shares. And then they halted trading. And they knew this fraud was happening. The regulators knew the fraud was happening. SEC was talking to FINRA about it and they halted it anyway. So didn't quite, I mean, I'm glad he touched on it. I'm glad that the name is out there, that someone that's on television is saying these things, but it just isn't quite nailing down what the problem is when they ask these questions. Michael Harrow, you see John Wick 4? I was going to try and see John Wick 4 on Saturday, and I looked up the show times, and my local theater is no longer playing it. So I was like, oh, okay. All right, man. What are you doing, weird dog? Okay. Mighty Mouse. That's why they want to see the blue sheets. Oh, yeah, he did mention the blue sheets. Charles Payne did mention the blue sheets. Can we see the FINRA blue sheets? And should we see the FINRA blue sheets? And a lot of her responses are just kind of like, That's kind of what seemed to come out of that. John Castro, go Kings. Go Kings? Sure. I am the most uninvolved basketball fan in the world. Since the Sonics left, I don't care. I just don't care. Give me my Sonics back and maybe I'll care. Dog Mom's here. Hello. Red Mustang's here. Is it MOA still a possibility in your opinion? Happy birthday. Yeah. Because they still have not closed their positions. They're still on just a boatload of margin that has only increased and gotten bigger. And the market is still due for a massive correction. Just monumental historic correction. You cannot have as many terrible commercial mortgage-backed securities, REITs, the real estate investment trusts, the commercial mortgage-backed securities, the way the bond market's going, inflation, it's all so bad, and that's all we're hearing about, and it just can't last. It cannot last on the Federal Reserve pretending like everything's fine by buying up everybody's securities and holding on to it forever. That's not a solution. The solution is just wipe. Just let it implode, start over. It'll suck, but that's what you have to do. And then you pass a bunch of regulations so that you don't get these boom bust cycles, which is what we did after World War II, which is why we didn't have giant boom bust cycles. We had like little recession, did fine, little recession, did fine, little recession, did fine. And rather than woohoo, oh shit, woo, oh shit, we're roller coastering. So they're just, inflating that balloon even more, and that's just gonna be an even bigger pop. Quiet Quest, can they make us take $2.90 a share arbitration? That is a possibility if you agree to arbitration. There's that law firm that's been tweeting about helping out with West Christian and others. They released their website today, like, hey, sign up and maybe we'll talk. And it sounds like what they want to do is go to arbitration. So let's say they go to arbitration, right? They go to the FINRA arbitration, which we know FINRA arbitration is garbage because they just got busted putting a thumb on the scale for Wells Fargo. They go to arbitration and they argue that these 10,000 shareholders that they're now representing deserve to get their money. And the offer is going to be $2.90 because that was the closing price. And if you agree to it, then they'll give you $2.90 per share for every share you have. And you will give 30% of that to this law firm. And to me, that seems like what's going to happen. I would rather have Rosa's lawsuit get us 2 more days, and those 2 more days, they're forced to close short positions at market. That would be helpful for everyone. That would be something that would be painful for the hedge funds. It'll be a painful reminder that they can't screw us over and that the regulations are in our favor in this case. So arbitration, lawsuit, that's what I'm going for. Jason Blackwell, Houston. The next time you need to slice pizza, use a Bryan Adams CD. It cuts like a knife. No. Joshua Bell, Tennessee. Happy birthday, Houston. That's it. That's the end of this message. You beautiful Houstonians. Thank you, Josh. I'm having so many birthdays. I have a lot of birthdays, but not so much birthday cake. That needs to change. Santa Houston? What? Oh, there's... okay. Just reset on me. Sorry. Gotta scroll back up. Figure out where... Okay. It says, Mel Johnson, you sound like you need to use the restroom. Did that. We're good. That bio... What do you call a deer with no eyes? I have no idea. Ha. It's like the, what do you call a lady with one leg up against the wall? Eileen. Okay. Oh, someone told me a good dad joke the other day. What was it? Ah, shit. I'm too tired. I can't think of the dad joke. It's right there. It's right there. It's coming. It's coming. Ryan Rang, if the government refuses to act, I think it's militia time myself. Good luck with that. They're going to be like, drone button, no longer an issue. Bex, hey, Houston, happy birthday. Fantastic shirt. Thank you. It's got hibiscus all over it. This is a true silk Hawaiian shirt. This is a classic. This shirt's probably like 50, 60 years old at this point. Sorry, I got distracted. I went rock hounding this weekend for the first time this weekend. I had a blast. Sprained my ankle. It's a minor injury. Oh. You got my hopes up, and then you just came at me with a dad joke. Curses! Justice Stewart. Oh, Korean name. Who's person? What's that mean? I don't know. Oh, fancy shirt. Thank you. Justice Stewart. Yo, Houston. You see the Charles Payne interview? Oh, yeah. South Charles Payne interview with SEC Commissioner with Hester. Yeah. I mean, it's good that he's asking. We just need more backstory, more oomph behind it. That's what I want. Joe McGruff. Houston, happy birthday. Can you tell us about this new mineral crystal found in fulgurite, or that fossilizing lightning creation? Please and thank you. Fulgurite. That seems really familiar, like I looked it up within the last couple of days. Fulgurite, coming as fossilized lightning. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. This stuff's cool. This is basically sand. Sand turned to glass. Oh, you guys can't see because I don't have that on. Chrome. It's my little spaceship from last time. Chrome. This stuff's cool. It's mostly quartz. So lightning hits, bam, 1,000-degree temperature, dispersed throughout the ground. It instantly flashes everything into glass. My 6th grade science teacher, Mr. Olson, who is just fantastic, he had lightning strike his backyard, and he dug up the giant spider webby crystal of glass that came out as a result. And what is this thing? We're on the stream. Sorry, someone's spamming right now. There we go. Okay. So the lightning strikes, and then it dissipates out. So it flashes all the sand that's in the ground into glass, and you can dig it up. These are like little guys. The one that my science teacher in 6th grade dug up was huge and awesome. Where's his? I mean, it's like this big, and it just branched outwards. Giant fulgurite. No, there we go. Things like this. But his wasn't quite this big. When it was more 3D than anything else. It was kind of like, I don't know, an alien. Where's some give me images. I want one that looks kind of like what he dug up. Not seeing it. It is cooler than all of these. That's almost like that. His was much more like a upside down tree. Where? Little guys, big guys, little guys. That one's kind of cool. It'd be like between this one that looks kind of like a sea anemone or something, and this one, which looks like a tree branch. Like if you mated those two together, you had like one top spread out and what? Oh, you found a box to sit in. Okay, I get it. Now they're cool. It's just heat and silica make sand. So there you go. Quiet Quest. Can you sue for more after if they open trading? If you agree to arbitration, no, that's it. Take the arbitration price. That's all you get. And like when you agree to arbitration, you may not have the right to say no. Maybe like, okay, you're in arbitration, go through these things, and the arbitrator determines, oh, you're going to get $2.90 for your share. That's it. You can't be like, no, that's not for me. They're going to be like, oh, no, but when you agree to this arbitration, you're going to get $2.90 for your share. Done. and that's probably how it's going to go. So I'm staying away from the arbitration, because you'd be going to arbitration with employees of FINRA in that case, essentially against FINRA, which I don't think is going to be in your favor. Cat, what are you doing? Being so weird. Just chill out, dude. Okay. Fulgurite. Houston, seems like all the chatter about market crash was wrong, but I know if I jump back in the market, it'll tank. What do I do? Well, you can trigger it for the rest of us. That could be your superpower, dog mom. Some people have that catalytic power that, there's people that you're in lanes of traffic and one lane's moving and yours isn't. And if you just pull into this one, this lane will no longer move and the other one will be ahead. Like, that is a personal sacrifice that you can make for the greater good. So, have at it. Meow? Meow. What do you want, cat? You just climb back and forth. Come on. Come up here. Come on. Come on. Don't just stare at me. Okay, whatever. Moas for yo ass. Houston, what do you call a Frenchman wearing sandals? A Philippe flop. Just eat one. Okay. Houston, FYI, fourth lawsuit filed against FINRA today in Georgia. Ooh, it's from Jamaican Mon. Ooh, filed. Can you send me that info? I'd love to see who filed in Georgia. Lay it on me. C says, oh, I love live HW. I have to watch after my shift. Are you still helping out at your friend's restaurant? Skechers Arch Fit have been the best shoe I've found so far being on your feet. Yeah, still helping out. Way too much. I don't know how to say no. Oh, well, I'm not teaching this quarter, so what else am I going to do? Hi, Monkey. Now you're interested in the cat? You guys going to hang out together? All right, well. Matt Newton. Goal behind intentionally destroying the dollar. I don't know if it's being intentionally destroyed. There's lots of reports about that, but I don't think it is. I think if anything, dollar hegemony is actually kind of being secured right now. Because no one will buy bonds in your native currency because everyone's like, your currency's kind of garbage. So I'm going to buy bonds in your currency. We'll buy bonds in American dollars, and you can pay for your projects in American dollars because contractors love American dollars. China's got tens of trillions of dollars in bonds. They're all in US dollars. They're not in the Chinese yuan. You get bonds from EU countries, they're probably in dollars. So I don't think the dollar is going anywhere. The dollar is so ubiquitous. It's cash in hand all over the world. I mean, you get off a plane in, I don't know, Kinshasa, right? And you pay a taxi cab driver. They ask you what kind of money you have, and you can say, "Oh, I've got Chinese yuan." I'm like, I don't know what that is. I got US dollars. They'd be like this. Give me the US dollars, because that is a known currency around the world that you can easily drop in any bank anywhere. People want it no matter what. I just don't quite see China, who artificially pegs their currency to the US dollar, as taking over as an international currency when the entire purpose is to directly convert that into dollars. It's just trading with dollars extra steps. That's all it is. So I don't think that there's an intentional destroying of the US dollar. I think it's so ubiquitous and it's so out there that there's going to be people who are going to try to fight back against it, but it's all theocratic dictatorships, autocratic dictatorships, totalitarian dictatorships. That is who's doing the fighting. And quite frankly, you're just not going to get the gravitas behind it as a whole bunch of democratic nations trading euros and dollars. It just isn't going to work. Like India, China, Russia cannot agree upon a currency. India is buying a whole bunch of oil from Russia right now, black market, at super discounts using Indian rupees. And then Russia's like, hey, can I exchange Indian rupees for some Russian rubles? And India's like, no. You can buy a bunch of shit from us with rupees, And Russia's like, I don't want anything from India. So you got to figure out how to get things out of India using those rupees. Plus, India and China hate each other. Like, India is literally partnered with Japan against China for missions to the moon because they don't want China to control the moon. Also, India and China are having skirmishes over a contested border region. India says it's theirs, China says it's theirs, and they're as likely to go to war with each other as anyone. So how are you going to have this like economic system, this economic hegemony against the US dollar if your partners can't even get along with each other? Plus, I personally think that China sees Russia and like, oh, Russia is so weak right now that if we don't give them weapons, Ukraine's going to kick the shit out of them this spring with an offensive, and Russia's going to be so weakened they're going to balkanize. They're going to break up into little fiefdoms, and we can finally get Chinese Manchuria back, and Vladivostok will be ours. And they'll use that as an excuse to move into Siberia and take all the resources. Because China makes lots of stuff, hungry for resources. Russia makes nothing, has lots of resources. So in China's view, it's probably perfection. So I do not see these groups getting along for very long. It's like a collection of assholes. They're going to piss each other off. Everything's going to fail miserably, and the whole thing will fall apart. You just can't get them people to get along. Okay. Kirk Wilson, Houston, please explain why aircraft such as the Bee Spirit fly without a vertical or horizontal tail. The Bee Spirit. Let's look at the Bee Spirit. Oops, I cannot spell. I did Bee Sprite. Spear it. Spear it. All right. So this looks like a B-2 bomber. These are flying wings. So my guess is stabilization is probably due to the wing shape. So you got the giant wing shape, and that you can use the flaps that are on the sides to act sort of like the way vertical stabilizers would. That'd be my guess. I don't know the science behind it, because I haven't read a book on the B-2 specifically. Because B-2 was not designed by Lockheed Martin. That's the only like Skunk Works-ish book. Well, I read Skunk Works. So yeah, that'd be my guess. So using the cut shape probably A, it reduces radar's profile, and B, putting flaps at angles probably can do stabilization efforts. That'd be my guess. You used to be able to see on Google Earth one that had gone off the runway in Missouri. Plus, it's really creepy to look at. Look how creepy that is. Imagine seeing that thing flying above you. You'd be like, what the hell? That is a spaceship. Why is there an alien spaceship flying above me? Yeah, that'd be my guess. That has to do with the cut tails. Kate Raw, happy birthday. Houston, I read about new battery technology and Acme Company has produced. Also, Acme is forecasted to $32 billion company in 3 years. What would the stock and per market cap be? $30 billion might be a bit exceptional for 3 years from now. I would say $10 billion is likely. But if you're a $32 billion company, you're going to be valued at $100 billion, probably somewhere around there. Even at $10 billion, probably $50 billion. But yeah, I think that at this point, if you are a tech company that's got hundreds of patents and a bunch of products they should theoretically be able to bring to market, you need salespeople. And you go get people who can sell your stuff to everyone. Be like, hey, this is useful. Like, why don't I see I go to the store. Why don't I see on every single solitary microwave at the store a nice clear glass window rather than the ones with the Faraday cages that you like kind of go cross-eyed trying to watch your burrito? Like, people want to be able to see their food cook. The technology exists to make that happen. Every single solitary company that makes a microwave should be licensing that tech from you, because the first one to come out with it will be the one that wins the microwave war from this point forward. So, salespeople, man. As much as sales bros bug the shit out of me, you need them. Quiet Quest. After MMTLP money, what are you investing in next? I mean, I will be getting a huge chunk of GameStop still. With it being at 20-something cents, and I sense something weird happening, I'll still be probably picking up some BVY because it's 20 cents. But for the most part, if things work out the way I want them to work out with MMTLP, I should theoretically be able to dump that into a index fund and then not have to think about it anymore. Just live off of the goodness that comes from that. That is key. So that's what I want out of it. Julius Miami, he will invest in Disney stock. So Julius and I have, Julio and I, we've been chatting back and forth about DeSantis in Florida because Julius is in Miami. So DeSantis is like, he's so upset that Disney just got his goat, just embarrassed the hell out of him. He's now like on the podium talking about how he's going to retaliate against Disney. And all he's done is he stepped into just a giant trap by Disney lawyers, and it's going to bite him in the ass so hard. Oh my gosh. He's going to be faced with a free speech retaliation case for sure. And he's going to lose it because he's giving them all the ammo they need to prove in court he's retaliating against them because of their speech. And this could possibly undo everything he's done was regarding the Reedy Creek district that he forced Florida to take over and thus take on like $1 billion in bonds that citizens now have to pay. They got him. He's toast. He is absolutely toast. Come on. You're looking like you want to come up. You're coiling. Come on. Do it. Come on. There you go. All right. The cattail. Okay. Back over there to go hit the monkey cam a few times. Michael Harrow, did you see the trailer for Sisu about a lonely man in Finland killing Nazis all kinds of ways? Sounds like a winner. I've heard such amazing, wonderful things about it. It just sounds like a wonderful, gory way to watch a bunch of Nazis die. And, you know, who doesn't like seeing that? The dudes that made John Wick, fantastic. Patton Oswalt saw it a month ago, and he said it was just incredible. It's like my jaw was on the ground the entire time. So I'm looking forward to that. It comes out on like the 25th or the 28th or somewhere around there. Excellent. Meow Meow, tell us again about how Stanley Kubrick managed to fake that moon landing thing. Moon landing's real. They landed on the moon. We can see it. We can see the tracks on the moon left behind by the astronauts. We landed on the moon. Ronnie E92 Houston, what's up with the new redacted documents on Adam Aaron? Randall, who came on the show a couple weeks ago, he posted a document dump from a lawsuit that was settled against Adam Aaron that showed the possibility that AMC itself was selling naked shares of their own company. That Adam Aaron had given himself tens of millions of dollars in bonuses that weren't approved and were against the contract, and the board never voted on it, while the company was failing miserably. And that there are members of the board who possibly engaged in insider trading. One of the members, Sarich or whatever his name is, he had promised someone on the board that if she could get him on the board, he would give her half of the money he made as someone on the board. Weird things like that just seem kind of illegal. I haven't gone through all the documents yet, but it had a lot to do with the structure of the Silvergate deal for the non-collateralized convertible bonds that they sold to AMC that allowed them to turn the bonds into shares as the stock was just flying, which removed the ability of AMC to like raise billions of dollars, because it was 300 million, 500 million, something crazy like that. Shares that triggered when the stock price got to $20 and they sold them all at 25. So if AMC had sold 300 million shares at $25, they would have made $7 billion, right? How much? Where's my calculator? Calculator's not open. Calculator. Boom. 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 And boom. Wait, calculator. Boom. There it is. All right. So 300 million shares at $25. 7.5 billion. So these bonds that were worth, I don't know, what were they worth? A couple $100 million, resulted in $7.5 billion in stock being generated. Oops. So, I mean, that's more than enough to pay off all their debt, right? So that's what this lawsuit was about. Was basically about, hey, these buddies are buddying up. This cronyism's happening, and it's affecting the shareholders. And I don't know exactly what the settlement was, and how that was resolved, because I think that stuff was sealed. But yeah, it's a lot of words in there. I haven't finished reading it all. I read some last night, read a little bit today, but it seems pretty shady what's in there. And granted, it's kind of one-sided because a lot of the filings are from the plaintiff in that suit, but it doesn't make everyone look very good, I'll be honest. Meow Meow, did you watch Green Slime yet? No, I've not seen it yet. Okay, it's sitting on my chair. I need to watch Green Slime. I need to watch the Pick of Destiny. What other things you guys want me to watch? I can't remember. Problem is, I sit down and I just go, Star Trek. And then I watch Star Trek. And that's what I watch. Kid Raw, do you think Acme is a great buy? My average would be 21 cents. Whoopee! Hey, Monkey Butt. I'm still getting some. So, I mean, it's so cheap. And all they need is a sale, and then it's not cheap anymore. No, says, what happens to a broker if it's providing / partner bank, central bank like Credit Suisse goes down? My guess is that the central bank or the regulator would have to seize them and then find someone to take on the assets while figuring out a way to dump the liabilities into a pit somewhere. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would not want to be associated with anything that has to do with Credit Suisse right now at all. Does not seem like I would try to get away. That's what I would do. I don't know how the Swiss regulatory bodies work compared to like the U.S. ones. U.S. ones, the SEC or the FTC or the FDIC will seize you for like a weekend and then find someone that can take all the good stuff, and then the bad stuff just goes off in the ether somewhere. Gets eaten by the Federal Reserve. I don't know. Keller Russ, thank you for your rant on Thomas Sowell. Always a pleasure picking your brain on topics. Yeah. Just, like, I don't know if I can read his stuff. Like, I read 3 of his books, and that might be more than I like reading things and learning stuff. I like reading things and being entertained. I don't like reading things and getting infuriated because, you know, the data that are being used is taken out of context or misrepresents the point they're trying to make, or like that stuff. Just I'd rather learn. I'd rather read and be happy after what I read. BOFH, any updates on Rose's lawsuit? Nope. No update on getting Rose on the show again. I'll reach out to her. Maybe Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. Scott Pollan, GameStop now selling cool blankets in Canada. New location open in Milan. Oh, more Italian GameStop nerds out there. Snurtler, congressional hearings are worthless because the concept of shame doesn't work on sociopaths. That's also true. They can be embarrassed, but they'll quickly get over it because their brain will rationalize how everyone else is stupid and it's their fault. Hoshi Gaming, nice shirt. Really like the color on this one. Have a nice day, Mr. Wade. Thank you, Hoshi Gaming. This is a good shirt. Beautiful silk Hawaiian shirt. Ryan Rang. That's because all media is corrupt, trying to, including Payne. It's a big show to make you think he's on our side. You don't get on TV if you weren't on the team. That's also possible because, you know, they want numbers. They want ratings. And if you say the magic words, people might tune in. Then you can get the few more eyeballs you need to charge a little bit more for advertising. Jason Blackwell Houston, previously Wall Street pumped the market so that retail could hold the bag. Now, Plunge Protection Team is volunteering to bag hold because retail's broke. Bailout workaround. I do wonder what the resolution is for the Federal Reserve. Because in the past, it either offered really low interest rates for banks to flood the economy with money, or it raised rates to slow the velocity of money. Now it seems to be raising rates and then using cash that it prints to go buy assets and pump the value of the market. So there's still a velocity of money happening that shouldn't be. And I don't know what the solution is to that, because if they stop and they just hold on to what they have and everything collapses, then for them to generate the cash needed to speed up the speed of money, they got to sell their assets, and that would cause it to plunge even more. If they sell now, everything collapses, hands down. They have to sell $8 trillion in everything, then the economy's toast. So I don't know. I wish I could get like someone from the Fed on the show to explain to me how they're going to get out of this. Because, but what I think I get from them is some sort of technobabble speak about, well, numbers are happening and, you know, interest rates are at 0.25% and they're not going to speak human. But I want to know, how are you going to get out of this? You're simultaneously restricting the velocity of money while speeding up the velocity of money, and then you just walk like an Egyptian. I don't know what they're supposed to do with that. Noah says, take a shot every time John falls down the stairs in John Wick 4. Okay. Andrew Taintertot. I hope GG is curled up holding his stomach from nerves. I hope he looks like death is waiting to take him tomorrow. He deserves it. I would love to see more teeth from the Federal Reserve, but it seems like they're like, oh, we're going to do these things and we're going to get rid of these dark pools and all this, and then they don't do shit. We're making these new rules. It makes everyone upset, and everyone's like, okay. Doesn't really seem to be affecting anybody at the moment. Okay. Michael Harrow, what do you think of the DOJ arresting Chinese spies for setting up a fake police station? Fake New York police station. Yeah, it's been happening all over the world. The Canadians were the first ones to announce it, that in like Ottawa and Toronto, the Chinese had set up a secret police stations and were basically arresting people in Canada for crimes against China, which not legal. There's a very, very, very significant Chinese population, wealthy Chinese population in Canada, especially in the West Coast, especially Vancouver. The population began to grow significantly in the 90s when the lease for Hong Kong was coming up, and the UK was going to have to give Hong Kong back to China. Now, at the time, Hong Kong was part of the Commonwealth. And if you were part of the Commonwealth, you could go to other countries inside the Commonwealth without a visa. And you could, if you had $250,000 or more at the time cash on hand, you could basically get residency in Canada. So a lot of them moved to Vancouver. A shitload of them moved to Vancouver, especially a lot of ones tied to very wealthy industries and triads. But so we have a whole bunch of these folks that hyper capitalist, not fans of the communist governments, that now have bases inside Canada, and the Chinese government wants them. Chinese government does not like the fact that they're not in China, where they can throw them in prison and seize everything that they have. So there is definitely a very weird relationship between Canada and China that is quite hostile. So, Canada arrests some Chinese national from Huawei. China arrests some missionaries from Canadian missionaries. I think there's a little tit for tat. But at the same time, it seems that all over the world, China is secretly setting up these police departments with officers of the law that are from the secret state police that, my guess is, disappear residents in a lot of nations around the world. So it seems like that's what they're doing in Chinatown in New York. That's what they're doing in Canada. But so far, the U.S. is the only one to arrest these dudes for being fake law enforcement. So, Ryan Rang writes, so the answer is everybody stay in their comfortable little bubbles and be a bunch of pussies because the government has drones. Has the men of the world, World War II, done that, we'd all be German. Well, not quite, because it wasn't a militia that was fighting Germany. It was the organized army that was doing it. So, not quite the analogy. But I think the way you fight these dudes is in their pocketbook. And we have to figure out a way to destroy their pocketbook so that they don't have the power and influence that they do. That, I don't think militias are quite the answer in that, because the militias oftentimes think they're fighting the system, but instead they're fighting for the power players. The power players would love the militias to just get vaporized. They'd be like, thank you. Now, everyone knows these guys are fools and won't do anything with them. Peace Attack Houston. If you ever get the chance to see the band Chastity Belt, they're from Walla Walla, and I missed getting to see them when I was out there. Chastity Belt. Okay. Nice Walla Walla, Washington band. Walla Walla, Washington. Home of Whitman College. That's where my sister went. Dillman's Warflex shirt is a good shirt today. This is a good shirt. Okay. Tillman's War for Reverse Ripto, same as staking crypto. Kind of. It'd be like if you staked crypto, right? So you bought, I don't know, cat poop crypto coin, and you asked us, oh, stake cat poop crypto coin, and then whoever you staked it with just made more crypto coin out of thin air, and then gave it to you every night. Like, I'll just print some more and give it to you. That's the Federal Reserve's doing. Federal Reserve is like, give your cash to us, and if we hold on to it so you can't use it, we'll give you more cash that we printed out of thin air. That's kind of what the reverse repo is like. Whereas the cat poop crypto coin would be like, you give us a crypto coin and they just reach into the pockets of other people and just kind of borrow them and give it to you, hoping that it all works out in the end. Scott Paul, arbitration determination cannot be contested. Yeah. You have to, you agree to what the arbitration results are, and you're stuck with it. That's why so many corporations love arbitration. Matt Newton, Charles Schwab looking pretty good and fucked. Yeah. Did you guys read last week that like their largest investor sold their $1.6 billion investment in Schwab? Yikes. Probably not the best. Ron Johnson, the 9-year-old, says the edge of the universe is all fire. Is this true? Am I being schooled by a kid? I told the universe if the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light, we'll never know. Well, how to phrase this, kitty cat? Oh, don't knock. Sorry, the cat just knocked on my tax forms all over the place. Don't go there. Be nice to these things, cat. Okay, so when you look out in space, you are time traveling, right? Because light takes time to get to you. If you look at the sun, you're seeing the sun as it was 8 minutes ago, because it's 93 plus million miles away, and it takes time for the light to travel that distance. So it gets to you in about 8 minutes. So you look further and further away. You can look thousands of years, millions of years, billions of years away. You look far enough, all the way out there, you get to this thing, this great fuzzy thing. And that great fuzzy thing is the confusion from after the Big Bang. So that's when everything was on fire. But it was so hot that like particles didn't exist. And so you can't see anything out of that except for the heat that was generated. You're just staring at me so much today. And so you can't see anything except for that fuzz. So that's the universe being on fire. But if you were to travel to it, it would A, take so long to get there, and B, you wouldn't see it as you see it from here. You'd see it as it exists now, which is just like where we are. We used to be that fire as well. So you rewind us back 13.8 billion years, everything's on fire. And but by the time you get out to where the edge of the universe is, it'll look just like we do, galaxies and planets and all the whole works. Okay. No says, why don't we just find buddies to invest with, and one of us always shorts and one of us always long, so at least one real human makes a profit with every trade, beating all algos. I think he just created a hedge fund. Quick quest. What happens to my shares if if computer share goes down? I have no idea. It's saying monkey about wants your blanket. Sorry. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? I don't know. I have no idea what insurance or regulator computer share is even involved in. It's an Australian company, so I would assume there's some sort of Australian financial regulator involved. But honestly, I don't know. That's a good question. Their prime broker is Bank of America, and Bank of America is trash. So, don't know. Oh, CS Charles Schwab. There's too many CSs. There's Credit Suisse. There's Computer Share. Charles Schwab. You'll just be picked up by another brokerage. That's it. If your brokerage goes under, you get seized by regulators. They sell the accounts to another bank for pennies on the dollar, and then or another broker, and then you're just that brokerage's customer. You may end up with Fidelity or E-Trade or something. I don't know. Courtney Washington says Georgia likes using the RICO charge. Did state of Georgia sue FINRA, or is it a private action? If you get someone has the thing, send it to me and I'll read it tonight. Park Life, thoughts on Bed Bath & Beyond volume and move today? Yeah, moved from like 21 cents to 27 cents on 210 million share volume. Seems to me a lot of people are going, that's real cheap. I might get me some. Or it could be, that's real cheap. I might take over the entire company amount of shares that are being purchased. Because it is real cheap. It's 1/100th, basically, what it was when Ryan Cohen sold everything. So Ryan Cohen could right now buy back in the company for a penny on the dollar from what he sold back in August. If that's what he wanted to do. Some people are saying that he's been talking about Nordstrom, but Nordstrom stock is strong, so I don't think he was talking about Nordstrom. Yeah. Situba. Lots of wingnuts claiming tinfoil stuff about the dollar is the only thing anyone trusts, with the euro tied to the dollar a close second. Those dream about Chinese yuan don't know about capital flight. Yeah. People want to get their money out of China as desperately as they can. Really, 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 really bad. The billionaires in China, any chance they can get to get their money out of China, they do. They don't want their money in China. They don't trust the Chinese government. They don't trust the Chinese banking system. So if they can get their money out of China, they will so gladly do it. They'll send their kids to private schools around the world, Switzerland, US, Great Britain, use an excuse to buy real estate, get some actual hard currency dollars out of China and into these other places. They love going to auction houses. We talked about in the past the guy that he bought some like Da Vinci painting for like 120 million bucks, and he couldn't get the Chinese yuan out to buy it. He had to use his American Express black card. And so, but that was a way of him getting hard currency, because he can then sell this thing somewhere else in the world for 120 million US dollars. And he doesn't have to worry about having that money in a Chinese account. He can put it in an American account or Swiss account or whatever. But yeah, Chinese billionaires don't want their money in China. They're just like Russian billionaires. Russian billionaires don't want their money in Russia. They want their money out where it counts, right? You want it in luxury yachts in Capri. You want it in mansions in Monaco. You want it in, racehorses in Coral Gables. You want your money anywhere except where you are, because you know what a corrupt country it is. You have no problem sucking it dry, but you're not going to shit where you eat. Get that stuff out. Get it to Dubai. Get it wherever you can. Huey, what's this comedian? Huey, let's see if I can find it, maybe. Go there. Click. Search. Huey Lee. Yeah. Okay, so he's a stand-up comedian, funny dude, from China. He did a really great post a little while ago about like the oh, I can't spell. Nope, still can't spell. Try that. Okay. Searching on the phone app is actually better than, oops, not that. That. Okay. All right. I don't know how many weeks ago it was. Where is... Must be this one again. Okay. This one? Yeah. Okay. It's a pretty great thread that he wrote up, as someone, Chinese perspective, dual citizen U.S. and so on. People are hyped up about the Chinese yuan just because of a shit post by Putin. Here's a thread on why the yuan will never become international currency. What the dollar, euro, yen, and other reserve currencies have in common is that you can sell them to other issuers anytime you want. You have peace of mind when you receive them as payment because you can exchange them for whatever currencies you need. China will never allow yuan to become freely exchangeable. You may have a hard time understanding why if you don't have a lot of local connections in China. In a nutshell, a free yuan would cause capital outflow of the scale of which you'd never seen. The wealth in China is concentrated in a small group of very, very rich people. These people's yuan denominated assets are more abundant than your wildest dream. You probably never heard of most of these people because they got rich from regime-related gray income. Unlike rich people in America, those in China are eager to get out of the country that made them rich. Right now, the only thing that limited their ability to flee is China's foreign exchange control. You're free to engage in corruption, but you can't bring your dough outside. Each individual can only buy $50,000 worth of foreign money legally every year. $50,000 is nothing for Chinese top asset holders. That's often why they lose in a Monaco casino in a single bet. The 50,000 quota, therefore, is an effective way to keep them in the country. If China agrees to buy yuan from foreign banks at any time they request, the rich people in China would easily smuggle cash out and buy US dollars from foreign banks. Based on the scale of their yuan wealth, yuan's value will collapse the moment they start to sell. Then you may ask, why do rich people want to leave China? I can't speak for them, but I know why I left China. First, political risks. Probably have more to do with those since I'm a dissident. But regime supporters have their own kinds of risks. Communist leaders are adept at purging their internal rivals. You are not rich today, but you are rich today, but if you fall out of favor, your wealth will be instantly turned into evidence for your prosecution. That's why Xi easily jailed tons of high-level officials after one succession fight. Second, entertainment. Yes, China has TikTok, but only a highly censored version. Other than that, when was the last time you watched a movie or listened to a song made in China? Just like Russia, China has lost its artistic potential due to decades of oppression. Third, children. Schools in China, because of their ideological functions, have to be cruel and disrespectful of their students. A happy campus would be considered disqualified based on my own experience. I would not want my kids to go to the schools I went to. As repulsive as those rich people are, they still love their children. That's why they send their children abroad whenever they can. If not for the foreign exchange control, they would certainly send out their whole wealth along with their children. In sum, I don't doubt for a minute that China will keep its foreign exchange control until the end of the CCP. A capital outflow of that scale would not only tank the yuan, but also tank the property market that props up the Chinese economy. Beijing won't let that happen. Yeah. So I thought it was a very succinct way of an insider showing you sort of like why China can't dominate the currency market, simply because you get that money. You are in Peru and you get paid in Chinese yuan. Okay, now what? You can't use it anywhere. All you can do is you can send it back to China and you get a bunch of shit you don't want. You'll be like, oh no, I need to pay my mortgage here, not buy crap from China. That's kind of the problem that China's gonna run into. Because if China allows this free exchange, I just realized the cat hit the thing again. If China allows this free exchange of currency, then the outflows from China would that absolutely just destroy the entire economy. People will be getting the hell out. Like, I'm done. I'm gone. Taking my billions. I'm out. I'm gonna go live in Monaco now, and that's the reality of it. Okay. No, it says if you consider inflation destroying the dollar, it's because of greed. Absolute majority of inflation is straight greed. Dollar dying for more dollar. Yeah, I mean, you look at the egg crisis, right? Yeah, bird flu is a thing. Yes, flocks died. But the egg producers use it as an excuse to basically gouge the consumer, and their profits went up 718% quarter over quarter with that. Like, that's just price gouging. That's all it is. Oh, we can charge more, so we're going to. Fuck you. And when your economy starts to be built upon not profit from volume, but profit from restricting product and services, that's when you run into trouble. That's why you got 88,000 rent-controlled apartments in New York not going on the market. So 88,000, that's enough to house, a couple 100,000 people. Apartments in New York are not going on the market. They're not renting them. Why? Because if they became available, it would bring the overall price of other newer developments down with them. So if you don't offer those homes, then the only thing available is the $6,000 a month 2-bedroom. So you had to pay the $6,000 a month, not the $900 a month in the rent-controlled apartment. So that is the opposite of, after World War II, the U.S. government sort of put a cap on home prices. And they said, yeah, new homes can't sell for more than $10,000. And everyone argued, this is going to cause them to, no one's going to build homes, no one's going to do this stuff. And what it ended up doing was it created an incentive to do mass produce homes and for them to sell a lot of them to make profit rather than selling just one for a whole bunch of money, which is what the developers really wanted. So these are the two sides of the coin. Like Walmart makes $200 billion a year, right? Because they move a lot of crap. And the more crap they move, the more money they make, the more profit they make. But if Walmart could get away with selling one item for $200 billion, they would, right? So the two sides of the coin you're looking at right now are restrict supply, artificially restrict supply so that the price of what's available goes through the roof, or let the supply flow like crazy and make your profit off of volume. And those are the two worlds we're in right now. Matt Newton, I love the dollars. Oh, I love the dollars. Matt Newton, yep, good point. India-China relations, now I can sleep. No, it seems clownish. Taxing and regulating 1 millionaire is worth like 10,000 regular humans. Taxing 1 billionaire is worth taxing 1 million millionaires. So assign 12 tax collectors per billionaire. I like it. Steve asks, happy birthday. Do you think the blue sheets can be altered or faked when sent to Congress? I don't think you want to fake things when you send documents to Congress. That would be one hell of a contempt charge, and you'd end up in the basement of the Capitol. Oh, really? What? Fat little cat. Whisker Biscuit. Important question. My girlfriend and I frequent local trivia nights, typically doing quite well for the only two of us. How do we combat the mega groups of 9 to 10 players who frequently win? Read fact books. Read the almanac, read fact books. When I say fact books, I mean things like I've got the Boyd's Curiosity Shop. Books like this. They're just full of lots of little one sentence facts. Like it was Arab sailors from the wrecked Spanish Armada who taught the Scots how to weave wool tweeds. Boom. There's a fact for you. That might be something that pops up in a trivia. Play lots of Trivial Pursuit. Watch Jeopardy constantly. Again, read your almanac cover to cover. There's also little like bathroom reader fact books like this all the time. Yeah, that's the one area where that you really can't do well if it's not in your wheelhouse. Has to do with pop culture. Like, I don't know Britney Spears songs. I don't listen to Britney Spears. I don't care about her music. If it does come on, my brain tunes it out, right? So if Britney Spears song is in one of the trivia questions, I'm not going to know it. I'm not going to know the lyrics. I'm not going to know the history of the song. I'm not going to know who's in the music video. I won't know these things. So there's really no way around that other than me somehow becoming a Britney Spears fan, right? So I'm stunted a lot when it comes to certain pop culture like that. And they might do like, oh, name this lyric. And they read the lyric and I'm like, never heard that in my entire life. And I'll see a team that go, and some girl will be like, oh my gosh. And they'll write it down and it'll be like a One Direction song. How am I supposed to know that? I'm not a horny 12-year-old girl. I have no idea if you played me a One Direction song, I would have no idea who it was. So, that seems to be like my biggest weakness, my biggest Achilles heel is in certain realms of pop culture that did not appeal to me as a youth or appeal to me as an adult because I'm not a 12-year-old girl. New Kids on the Block existed. I don't know if I could name one of their songs. Cat, you're being so weird. Okay. But fact books help a lot. Not just any fact, like, knowing who wins the World Series each year. You'll get a lot of timeline questions at trivia. Like, what year did the New York Yankees win the World Series? Did gasoline last be at 87 cents a gallon? And Bill Clinton said he didn't have sexual relations with that woman. And like, you might be like, it might be 97, 98, 99. But if you know who won the World Series each year, then you can usually get those guys pretty well. One of the Jeopardy tricks is if they're talking about 1927, they're talking either about the Yankees or Charles Lindbergh. If they're mentioning like the first woman in sport, so often it's Martina Navratilova doing something. Lots of little things like that you'll see patterns to. They're not necessarily like knowing the trivia. It's just being able to break down. Okay, it's an either or of one of these things. It's going to be Charles Lindbergh or it's going to be the New York Yankees because they're talking about 1927. Meow meow. The moon landing was faked. Oops, I did it again. No. Okay. Visio guy, I believe the B-2 is inherently unstable and must have computers to fly. People can't react fast enough. I don't know enough about that. Do we have any Air Force guys who happen to have flown B-2? They hopefully you got a name that is anonymous. And be like, I flew a B-2. Let me tell you what it's like. Because, homeboy, I've got no idea. Daniel Motes, Houston, can you break down options in a simple way? I mean, I've tried to before. An options contract is the promise to buy or promise to sell a stock if it meets your goals. So if you think a stock's going to go up, you might buy a contract that's above the current price. And if the stock goes past that price, you can get a screaming deal on the stock. And if you want to, sell it for a huge profit. So let's say a stock's trading at $10. You think it might go to $20. You buy an option at $12. You're paying a premium for the right to buy that stock if the stock hits $12 or goes higher. And let's say it goes higher than that. It goes to $20, just like you said. You can now make $8 a share for those 100 shares. You just made $800 profit off of that stock. Woo! Cool. The opposite is true if you think a stock's going to go down. So stocks trade at $10. You think it might go to $1. You might buy puts at $8, right? That means if the stock drops below $8, someone has to buy 100 shares from you at the $8 price, but you can go on the market and you can collect them for whatever the price is below $8. So let's say the stock does go to $1, right? You can go out, you can buy 100 shares at $1 each. So you bought 100 shares at $1, and someone has to buy them from you $8. So you just made $700 profit off of those 100 shares. That's the simplest way I can explain it. So basically, every dollar a stock does outperforming your strike price, if it's a call, the price goes above it, you can add $100 to the value of it, roughly. Not exact, but roughly. You know, you have a $2 call, stock's trading at $300. That call should be worth about $100 plus the whatever little premium you have. If stock's trading at $100 and you have a call at $90, you might have $1,000 call in your pocket, right? Because you got $10 difference, $100 each one of those dollars that the stock price changes. And there you go. That's simple enough. That's the simplest way I can describe it. If I need to get more simple, then Prince Flappy Ears, meow meow. Are you a flat earther? There's not flat, it's K-litter box. Chlamydia, that missing stabilizer question, because the ailerons operate together to direct airflow as well as opposite for roll. Okay, so there's little pointy bits. I am a K-litter box. Cat, quit being weird. Okay. Michael Harrow, Apple is creating savings accounts at 4.15% interest. Goldman Sachs is involved. Is this going to be a trend with companies becoming banks now? I am very curious about that because, like, if you are an Apple person, right? And there's lots of people who are super Apple fanboys, and they got themselves those like fancy white metal Goldman Sachs Apple cards, and they can treat the cards like a credit card, they treat it like a cash card. So I think this allows people to load up the cash card portion of these things and use them like savings accounts. And, you know, if you have money sitting in your savings account, you may as well stick it somewhere to earn you something, right? 4.15 interest, that seems pretty good. And I do wonder if it's a way for Goldman Sachs to murder some more local banks and take their business. You want to go out? Is that what you want? Okay, fine. Why are you being so weird? So it might be an evil move on Goldman Sachs' part to destroy local banks and take all their customers. Because people pull their money out. Oh, they're like, hell yeah. Screw you, 0.01% savings account. I'm going to stick it in 4.15. Iggy Lamone, Houston, how's Goldman Sachs doing compared to everyone else? I'd be worried they'd have the same issues that others might face in the days to come. Goldman Sachs has more hedge funds under them they've lent margin to. So they're prime broker for more hedge funds and family funds than JP Morgan. But the dollar value of the margin JP Morgan issued is less than Goldman Sachs by a little bit. I think if all the margin comes collapsing down, Goldman Sachs is as screwed as anybody else. There's lots of talk this winter about them changing the way they operate as an investment bank because of liabilities. I don't think those liabilities have gone away. I think people have kind of ignored them for a few months. Like, oh, we haven't talked about it for a few months, but I think all those liabilities are still there, still trying to terrify everyone. Oh, crap. There's the reset again. Quit resetting. Jeez, my knees. Okay. People talking about moon monsters or moonsters. Yogi, 2012. Have you watched The Umbrella Academy? It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. I saw the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen the most recent season yet. I haven't gone around to it. Too much Star Trek. I watch a lot of Bosch and then I'm watching Star Trek now, and that's what I'm stuck on. I'm watching anything. But I'll get around to it. I'll watch the most recent season. Meow meow. Goldman Sachs has balls to be as corrupt as they are. I hope their execs get the shaft. You know, and I know that no one at Goldman Sachs is going to jail for squat. They'll just retire to some mansion in Palm Beach and be power players from there. Would be my guess. No one who goes to prison seems to go to prison like they should, or no one goes to prison like they should, I should say. Ignemon, of course, Houston believes dolphins, they're from outer space, like the documentary Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says. Mushrooms are from outer space for sure. Mushrooms are aliens. Marquess in Dade County, having a fuel shortage. First line ran out of gas right before I got to the front. Now about to fill up in 4 hours in line. Thanks for making this bearable. Yeah. So last week, in a single 24-hour period, Fort Lauderdale got 25 inches of rain. They are underwater. And then it rained some more, and it rained some more. It's supposed to rain today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And I think they get a little break after Wednesday. The Port of Everglades is there, and that's apparently where fuel gets pumped from for the rest of the South Coast. So Miami has no fuel. So if you're in Miami, hope you're not driving a Hummer or a G-Wagon, because you're not going to make it far. So, you're stuck with me for another 30 minutes or so, or until I close my eyes and don't wake up. Wolfgang Felix, Jesus built my hot rod. He also built all our nukes and all our weapons so that we may destroy all life on Earth. Praise Jesus the Antichrist. Someone's a ministry fan. Okay. Troopers is trying to help you with taxes. I wish. One of the colleges didn't send me the W-2, so I wasn't able to do my taxes. So I had to file for an extension, and I'm waiting for them to send me my W-2 now. Chlamydia. In Australia, they just arrested over 100 Chinese police out of 5 stations. They're getting charged under the terrorist act. Oh, so Australia is doing it now too. Australia is having a similar kind of conflict with the Chinese government that Canada is. I think they had a number of folks using the Commonwealth rules to escape Hong Kong as well. Plus, Australia has a bunch of resources China wants, and they're trying to start influencing the South Pacific, which is a region that New Zealand and Australia sort of had more sway over in the past. It's all fight for power, man. No says Houston ASMR and NR1 with hits like Houston. How was rain made? Happy birthday, Houston. Monkey butt soft landing with rain. BBB went up to 32 cents. Oh, fantastic. So I picked up 1,000 shares last week. So let's get it. Multiply sucker by 100. We're good to go. Jimmy Green, my company 401k through Schwab, so this could be interesting. Yeah. My guess, if you have a 401k, you'll probably end up with someone like Fidelity. They do a lot of corporate 401ks. Something like that. Julius Miami pumps at Port Everglades are at 50%. It rained again today, so make it last. Yeah. Good luck, everyone in Florida. Your governor's at Liberty University yelling about gay people and not doing anything to help you. And if your car stalled, good luck getting your insurance paid for it, because your house also flooded and you didn't have any insurance for that because insurance prices went up 800%. And there you are. Oh, stuck with a V8, having to travel for work. Oops. Done one of those lucky jobs where you can do it remotely. Sounds like you work at a hospital. Brian Strange, Charles Payne let Hester pivot to overall market mechanics in the interview. He gave her a way out instead of sticking to MMTLP. Yeah, That's usually what they do. American interviewers in general let the pivot happen, and I don't know why. You ever listen to like NewsHour on BBC and the radio for some reason? We get it on some of our stations here, and they'll do an interview with someone, especially with Americans, and the American will hear the question, answer something completely different than what the question asks, and the BBC interviewer is like, "That's not what I asked. I need you to answer this particular question about this particular thing." And the American will be like, "Oh, haha, yeah, totally," and they'll try pivoting again, like, "Sir, no, I want you to talk about this specific thing that I just asked you about. Why won't you talk about this specific thing? Is this specific thing a reason for you not to talk about it?" And then finally, the American will usually relent and go, "Oh, fine, I'll talk about this thing that's really embarrassing to me." And here in the U.S., they let them pivot constantly. Chuck Todd is the worst at it. Chuck Todd, he's the NBC's weekly morning show guy, Sunday morning show guy, and he just gets doormatted by everyone he ever interviews. He's such a terrible interviewer, but I think he does it on purpose. I think he's like, "Oh, I have to ask this question, and now check that off the list, and you can talk about whatever you want after that." I wish we had a little more hard hitting, a little more explain yourself type interviewers. Blue screen's claymation. Mark Hess, happy birthday, Houston. The other day, I was watching a ticker, forgot which one. Free float was about 1 million volume for the day. Was 10 million with twice as much outflow than in. How is this possible? Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should happen that way, right? That is what happens on a lot of these meme tickers. There's a 2 million float for costs, and they had 14 million shares trading a day. There was a 35 million float for GameStop in 2021, and they traded 190 million shares in a day. Stuff like that happens way too much. And some will say it's from, it's just the trading computers bouncing a share back and forth. Okay. How about don't allow them to do that? How about you can't bounce a share back and forth a million times? Once you trade a share, or once you buy a share, you have to hold on to it for a few minutes. Therefore, you can't bounce it back 10,000 times a second. Manipulation, naked selling, it's all manipulative garbage. And I think it all should be banned. And no one should be allowed to do it. So stop it. A1 Car State, I live in Fort Lauderdale. Not as bad as they say. Very localized. The fact that 25 inches of rain can be localized is absolutely crazy to me. Dylan Miller, Houston should meet up with Nick Zentner, talk about rocks in Washington. He's a professor at Washington State University. Okay. Now the cat wants back in. You do your thing, cat? Yeah? Coming in? Make up your mind. All right. Now you're back in. Congratulations. Okay. 2. I'll talk rocks to people. Note says landlords basically price sink gouge using websites unintentionally, since they often use the same site that self-feeds information. So it's all max the price. Well, they're definitely in cahoots with each other. Yeah, they price their apartments according to like this one website that says you should price your apartment at this, basically. And they go, okay. So it's inadvertent colluding with all the other landlords. It's totally garbage. Mully McWoolhead, Mehdi Hassan is a really good interviewer. Wish they'd give him a bigger platform. He absolutely just dismantled Matt Taibbi last week. Just pulled him apart like a kid picking at an ant. Matt Taibbi's career is done. He's done from that Mehdi Hassan interview. And the fact that Matt Taibbi thought he could go on to that show and it would look good for him surprised me after he got dismantled by Debbie Wasserman Schultz in Congress a couple weeks ago. just like, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, Matt Taibbi used to be like the reporter for Rolling Stone. Did lots of reports on the financial markets and things like that for them. But since leaving Rolling Stone, he started a Substack. And once you're at Substack, you don't have an editor anymore. And an editor oftentimes looks at what you write and goes, do you have a source for this? No? We're going to take that out. Okay. This seems like you were misquoting somebody. I need to double check and make sure this is what they said. Things and the editor is making sure that they, aren't going to get the publication sued. Because when the editor drops the ball, they do get sued. Such as, remember the Duke lacrosse story where Rolling Stone misreported on the Duke lacrosse players sexually assaulting women, and they cost them a lot of money, and it was embarrassing. So you got to make sure your editors are on top of that. Well, Matt is now his own editor on a Substack, and he makes millions of dollars. People subscribe for $50 a month or whatever for a Substack, and he doesn't have any editors over him going, you know what? You might want to get a second source to verify this. He just publishes whatever he wants. And one of the things he published was all the data given to him personally by Elon Musk regarding the Twitter files. And so Matt Taibbi was like, oh, the government is in cahoots with Twitter, with Twitter's previous regime, and they're restricting your speech. And when fact checkers went through the data and the claims, they discovered that it wasn't quite the way Matt was claiming it was. That the government did not require that Twitter, shut these accounts down or censor speech. They did at times recommend, say, hey, this is a foreign actor that works for ISIS. We don't think it's very good that they're having this audience right now publishing these things. And sometimes Twitter would be like, yeah, maybe we'll delete that. Other times Twitter was like, no, fuck you. We're a private company. Screw you. You might not like it, but whatever. The big thing was that Matt Taibbi was claiming that the government, that an outfit that was attached to the government was the one flagging all this stuff, when in fact it was a nonprofit that was not associated with the government at all. And he was claiming things like 22 million tweets had been flagged when it was only like 3,000 tweets had been flagged by this nonprofit. And so all of his data was wrong. Everyone he was blaming for this wasn't actually necessarily government actors. And he just lied. And he lied because that Elon lied to him. Dog and cat are messing with each other at the moment. And he's toast. If he had tried to publish this at Rolling Stone, the editors have been like, okay, we're going to double check all this stuff and done all the work that Mehdi Hasan did. But, dudes like Glenn Greenwald, Michael Tracy, Matt Taibbi, they're now on Substack. They're now don't have editors making sure that they get things right, and they're just publishing crap. And on top of that, for more than a decade, Matt Taibbi was running a publication in Moscow. And in that publication, they talked about the times they slept with prostitutes and did drugs with mafia guys and all sorts of gnarly things. And there's probably even gnarlier stuff they didn't talk about. And it gets to the point where someone like Matt Taibbi cannot and will not criticize Vladimir Putin. And whenever someone can't criticize Vladimir Putin, someone who is very criticizable, it's so easy to criticize Vladimir Putin. Just say something like, Vladimir Putin did that thing wrong. Vladimir Putin should not have assassinated thousands of political dissidents. How hard is that to say? Like, don't assassinate the political dissidents. Don't poison people in foreign countries. It's not that hard to say don't do that. You cannot get Matt Taibbi to do that. You cannot get Glenn Greenwald to do that. You cannot get Michael Tracy to do that. They will not criticize Vladimir Putin. They will comment all day long on relations between Russia and the U.S., but it's always the U.S. did this thing wrong, never Russia did this thing wrong. Mother Russia strong, U.S. terrible. I will criticize the U.S. just like I will criticize Putin. But for some reason, those three gentlemen cannot and will not criticize Vladimir Putin, even though they will offer up constantly news on relations between the two countries. So, yeah. Good on Mehdi Hasan for absolutely just plucking the feathers out of Matt Taibbi on that one. just rendered him. It was very good. Okay. Dan Harris, 16 out of 22 House members who voted against transparency in the markets are on the committee questioning Gary Gensler tomorrow. Not much hope. Well, let's hope that those 6 remaining members have some chutzpah for us. Fingers crossed. My actual hopes are way down here. Evan Ho, Houston, random thought. If our financial system is controlled by these corrupt few, why doesn't the rest of us of the world? Why doesn't the rest of the world call BS? Because all the phone companies are owned by those guys too, so it's hard to make those calls. That's probably what Christopher Stedman, Shaka Aloha shirt, Shaka Aloha shirt. Does commercial real estate issues favor DRV stock? Honestly, I don't know. I know DRV does the opposite of mortgage-backed securities, but I don't know if it includes commercial mortgage-backed securities. Who was it? Was it DVS that was talking about that one? He might still be at work. He's in Australia. Probably not listening right now. One of the DVS, one of the DRV people, chime in or leave a comment when the show's over and let us know. Julius Miami, Matt Taibbi is one of the few reporters deep dive into the 2008 mortgage-backed security scam. Unbelievable crash and burn for him. Yeah. Oh, DVS is here. Yay, there he is. I was not talking about that one. Okay. Who was it that was talking about the specifics of DRV? It was one of you guys, and it's not. My tired brain cannot think of names right now. So, I don't know. But yeah, the crash and burn of Matt Taibbi has been rather spectacular. But same thing with Glenn Greenwald. Like Glenn Greenwald was like WikiLeaks. Let's let leaks happen, and then when it came to leaks that make Russia look bad. Leaks are bad. Don't leak. It's very interesting. Like, I want to know what compromat is on them to make them behave that way, or what contrarian mind virus. People talk about the woke mind virus. I think it's a contrarian mind virus where people play devil's advocate just for the sake of playing devil's advocate, and sometimes they're just dicks about it. So you can be like, hey, slavery's wrong. Oh yeah? Well, what about the time slavery helped people? And like, really? You're going to go there, devil's advocate guy? Yeah. Some people were benefited from it. You know, they made lots of money from it. So why is it so bad? Like, and then they start just going contrarian until they actually believe what they're saying. And they devil's advocate themselves into the devil. And I think that some of those guys, that might be their MO. I think Russell Brand does that. Russell Brand contrarians himself into the point where he's now like agreeing with neo-Nazis on things and just absolutely like, what are you doing, dude? This is not 5 years ago. You would never even thought about this, but now you're like, Tucker Carlson's great. You know, he might say all these things are complete white supremacists, but you know what? He was nice to me once, and that's not how you contrarian. Dark Helmet, Disney has the same lawyer as Death Clock. Yeah, you would know I want to mess with that guy. If you guys don't watch Metalocalypse, their lawyer is very powerful. Dan Harris, Payne's balls shrunk when his moment to shine arrived. This is what you see when someone is not committed to the cause. Yeah. Because he just didn't have, I mean, he didn't have the ability to be like, let's stick on MMTLP for a moment. The stock, which shouldn't have traded, started trading. And then they started shorting the hell out of it more than it already was. They had no intention of ever closing positions, and they pressured FINRA to stop trading before they had to close positions. This is wrong. Why is the SEC letting this happen? And she says, oh, there's market mechanics. Like, no, not about market mechanics. I want to know about this particular stock, MMTLP. Why did the SEC let it trade after it wasn't supposed to trade? And then why did they stop trading it without closing positions? Why? Why are positions never closed? And then she goes, I don't know about the bigger one. We'll learn about it. Get back to me tomorrow. You've had a year to figure this out. Figure it out. And that should be the type of questions that they get. Dustin Wright. Joe Umberto was asking if anyone knew if Congressman Davidson had blue sheets and could get them. What the hell is his lawyer Wes Christian doing? Berta asking Twitter for blue sheets is a joke. Yeah, no one on Twitter has the blue sheets. If anyone on Twitter had the blue sheets, they would be out there already. But everyone's asking for them. I think 2 congressmen have asked for them. What's his butt in South Carolina? And what's his butt in Texas? And again, the names are... but they've not come as far as I know. I know Rosa would love to have it. Rosa would love to have the court order those blue sheets be given over. But this committee will have the power to subpoena those if it comes down to it. So hopefully, any members of Congress who are on the Finance Committee, ask them. Ask about it. Ask again. And then say we're going to subpoena this information and get the whole committee to vote on a subpoena. That's the stuff needs to happen. And you will uncover all sorts of weird things. That will lead down the rabbit hole. And then you'll be wearing Hawaiian shirts, talking to strangers on the internet 3 days a week. And join us. The water is fine. Okay. My voice is failing me again. It's sunny. Trees are jizzing all over the place. And I just cannot get relief. I've tried the honey. I've got the Zyrtec in me. I'm drinking lots of water. And my voice is so tired. I'm at the bottom of the chat, so might end 13 minutes early. Is that cool, everybody? I can't talk anymore. I'm tired. My voice hurts. Monkey butt. Shall we do one thing before we leave? Let's do this. Let's do this before we leave. Okay, some of these guys. Yep. Oh. That's only part of one. You want a whole one, don't you? Yes, that's what you want. That's what you want. Okay, close. Oh, so beefy. Every time I close this thing, it's just beef. Okay. Back on top of the printer. Yeah, you want it? Gotta come get it. Gotta come get it. Gotta come get it. Gotta reach for it. Come on. Come on, you can do it. You can. Oh, so close. So, there you go. All right. And the monkey cam. Getting the monkey cam. There you go. Michael Mystery Monkey Butt wants the whole ones. Yes. Talvin Forest. Sea trees have been brutal so far. Not as brutal as it would have been if it hadn't been raining this much. The 2021, 2020, when it was super sunny and hot, not in April, drifts like this deep in my driveway of cedar pollen and just, ugh. So I'm glad it's been raining all bunch, but right now, homeboy's dying up here. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. I will see you on Wednesday. Thinking of charities for Charity Tuesday, which I think is Charity Tuesday next week. Is that the last Tuesday of the month? Yeah, Charity Tuesday is next week. So think of your charities. I'm looking for a charity possibly that would be like a medical debt relief charity. I know the Euros and Australians, everywhere else is like medical debt relief. But healthcare bills are 70% of all bankruptcies in the U.S. because we've got a crappy system. And a lot of that debt that goes unpaid gets bought up by the credit seeker dudes, the ones that hunt you down, whatever they're called. And they get bought for like a cent on the dollar. So $1 million in debt could be bought for $1,000 or whatever, and you can get forgiven. So there's charities out there that will buy the stuff up wholesale and then just burn it so people don't owe anything. And there you go. Okay. So find a good one. Let's talk about it. Collections companies. Thank you, Julius. Damn, my brain is so fogged right now. Anyway, I'll see you guys Wednesday. Hopefully it'll be just pissing rain and I can avoid more pollen. Right? Right. Okay. Peace. Wait, didn't happen. Click. That's how I throw my